You ever hear those stories about truckers who vanish on the highway, never to be seen again? Well, I'm not saying I believe all of them, but I'll tell you this. What happened to me one freezing night in Wyoming made me wish I'd never taken that road. My name's Caleb Moore. I've been hauling freight across the US for over a decade. Long nights, endless asphalt, coffee thicker than mud. It's a lifestyle most folks don't understand, but on this night, I was dead tired, hauling a load of steel beams from Cheyenne to Billings. The route was simple, straightforward, except for one stretch of highway truckers whisper about but never linger on. They call it the Devil's Mile. It's just a lonely piece of asphalt cutting through wide-open plains. No gas stations, no motels, no signal on your phone. Just wind, stars, and if you believe the stories, something else. Something that doesn't want you there. I laughed when I first heard those stories. Ghosts hitchhiking in the dark, phantom rigs appearing in your mirrors, voices on the CB radio that ain't supposed to be there. I thought it was trucker folklore, something to keep rookies awake at night. But that night, I learned every legend has a drop of truth. The snow started falling around 1 a.m. Not much, just light flakes dancing in the headlights. I had my radio on low, static, mixed with old country music, when I noticed the fuel gauge dropping faster than it should have. Strange. I just filled up in Cheyenne. I tapped the glass. Needles still sank lower. My stomach tightened. Out here, running out of gas wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. As the road stretched darker and emptier, I saw something up ahead. A figure, standing right on the shoulder. Hell no, I muttered. Nobody should be out there. Not in that weather. Not at this hour. My high beam swept across them. Long coat, wide brim hat, head tilted low. They didn't stick out a thumb. Didn't move. Just stood there like they were waiting for me specifically. And as I passed, I swear, though my windows were shut and the wind howled, I heard them whisper my name. Caleb. I gripped the wheel so tight my knuckles ached. You're tired, hallucinating. That's all. But then the CB radio crackled. A voice hissed through the static. Breaker 19. Anybody out there? I grabbed the mic, relieved to hear another human being. This is Hauler 47. Go ahead. The line went quiet. Then, static warped into a low laugh. A laugh that grew distorted, stretched, almost inhuman. My hand froze. Who is this? The voice answered, drawn out like it was coming from a tunnel. You shouldn't be here. And then, silence. By now my nerves were shredded. I told myself to keep going, just make it to Billings. Don't stop. Don't pull over. But when I glanced in the side mirror, my breath caught. There was another truck behind me. No headlights, no running lights. Just a massive black rig keeping perfect distance in my blind spot. Too close, too steady, like it was shadowing me. I blinked, it was gone. That was just the beginning, because what I saw next forced me to question if I'd actually make it out, alive, or if my name would end up as another whispered story on the Devil's Mile. The black truck didn't make a sound when it vanished from my mirror. 1 second it was there, massive grille, hulking frame, like it wanted to run me off the road. And the next, nothing but my own taillights glowing on the empty stretch of asphalt. I leaned forward, scanning the darkness behind me. You're tired, Caleb, I whispered to myself. That's all. Just tired. But deep down, I knew that wasn't it. I've driven tired before. Every trucker has. You start seeing shapes in the dark, tricks of the eyes, but this felt different. Too sharp, too real. The snow thickened, flakes hammering against my windshield, wipers squealing back and forth. My radio was nothing but static now, like someone holding the mic and breathing right into it. I switched it off. The silence inside the cab, even heavier than the storm outside. Then I saw it. Up ahead, through the curtain of snow, taillights glowed faint red. Another rig. Maybe a mile in front of me. Relief washed through me. Finally, someone else out here. I pushed a little harder on the gas, trying to catch up. The taillights never seemed to get closer. No matter how much I sped up, they stayed the same distance ahead, flickering faintly, sometimes vanishing completely in the snow, then glowing again, my palms slicked with sweat. I knew I should slow down, keep it steady. But curiosity, it eats at you. Out there in that nothingness, you'll chase anything that makes you feel less alone. So I pressed harder. And the lights, they vanished completely. The highway stretched empty again. My heart pounded, and a sick thought crept in. What if there'd never been another truck at all? That's when my CB crackled again. Breaker 19, the voice rasped, broken like old tape. Who is this? I demanded, my voice trembling more than I wanted. Silence. Then, you're following too close, Caleb. I slammed the mic down like it burned me. My foot eased off the pedal, eyes darting to my mirrors. Nothing but snow and darkness. That's when the low rumble began. At first, I thought it was thunder rolling across the plains. But no storm was close enough for that. The rumble grew deeper, louder, shaking through the floorboards of my cab. I checked my mirrors again, and froze. The black rig was back. This time, its headlights blazed. Blinding white beams cut straight through my cab, flooding every shadow. It was right on me. So close I could see the grille's chrome gleam, the massive bumper nearly kissing my trailer. Jesus Christ, I shouted, jerking the wheel slightly. My truck swayed, tires skidding on the ice. I fought to keep it steady, my pulse hammering in my ears. The phantom rig didn't back off, didn't slow down. It rode me, engine roaring like a beast. I grabbed the CB again. Hey, back off! You're gonna kill us both. But there was no driver. I swear, through the snow and light, I saw nothing in that cab. Just a dark, empty seat. And then, just like before, it vanished. No screech of brakes. No swerve. 1 second it was bearing down on me, and the next, gone. The road behind me stretched empty and endless once again. I sucked in deep breaths, my chest aching. Every part of me wanted to pull over, to just stop and breathe. But another part whispered, "Don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop." So I kept driving. Half an hour later, the storm broke. The snow eased, the sky cleared, and stars stretched wide above me. For a moment it almost felt normal again. I told myself I'd imagined it all. The hitchhiker, the voice, the rig, just tricks of exhaustion. Then up ahead, I saw a light, a gas station. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. Out here, a gas station was salvation. I slowed, pulling onto the exit ramp, headlights sweeping over the old sign. Miller's Stop, open 24 hours. But the place didn't look open. The neon letters buzzed faintly, some letters dark, others flickering. The parking lot was empty. No cars, no trucks, no signs of life. Just a single dim bulb, glowing above the door. Still, my fuel gauge was sinking dangerously low. I had no choice. I parked by the pump, engine idling. The place looked frozen in time. Peeling paint, windows clouded with grime, an old soda machine tilted against the wall. I stepped down from the cab, boots crunching on the icy gravel. The pump handle felt ice cold in my hand. I slid my card. Nothing. The screen stayed black. I tried again. Dead. Great, I muttered. That's when I noticed the door. The gas station door hung slightly open, swaying with the wind, and from inside came a sound, a low hum, almost like someone singing. I should have turned back right then. Should have climbed back into my rig and kept moving. But curiosity, it pulls you deeper. And stepping inside Miller's stop was the single biggest mistake of my life. The hum drifting from inside Miller's stop didn't sound human. It rose and fell in uneven notes, like a radio stuck between stations. My boots crunched forward on the icy gravel, breath puffing white clouds into the air. I knew better than to go inside, but out on that stretch of highway, my choices were two. The dark road behind me, or the strange glow ahead. The door creaked louder as the wind pushed against it. A faint smell hit me, something sour, metallic, like old pennies and rotting wood. My stomach knotted. Still, I pushed the door open. Inside, the place looked frozen in the 1980s. Faded posters on the wall advertised cigarettes, long banned, and shelves sagged under the weight of dusty cans and cracked candy wrappers. A buzzing fluorescent light flickered overhead, casting everything in sickly yellow. And then I saw her. Behind the counter stood a woman, or what I thought was a woman. She wore a clerk's uniform, faded red vest, name tag dangling sideways. Her hair was limp and black, her face pale as chalk. She didn't blink, didn't move, just stood there, mouth slightly open, that humming sound still spilling from her throat. I cleared my throat. Pumps out there aren't working. You open? The humming stopped. Her head tilted slowly, too slowly, like the hinges of a rusted door. When her eyes met mine, I realized something was terribly wrong. Her pupils weren't round. They were thin, vertical slits, like a snake's. You okay, ma'am? I stammered, taking a step back. She smiled, but it wasn't a normal smile. Her lips stretched wider, far wider than they should, exposing teeth that looked too sharp, too jagged. And then she spoke, voice a whisper that still somehow rattled my bones. You shouldn't be here, Caleb. Every hair on my body stood on end. How do you know my name? I demanded, though my voice cracked halfway through. Her smile widened further, splitting skin at the corners of her mouth. The humming began again, deeper this time, vibrating through the cracked tiles of the floor. I stumbled back, heart slamming in my chest. My eyes darted around the station. Empty aisles, silent coolers, the exit just a few feet behind me. I turned to bolt, but the door was gone. I froze, blinking. The wall where the door had been was now solid. Peeling wallpaper stretched across it, the same faded pattern as the rest of the room. My chest tightened. No! No, no, no! The humming grew louder, the clerk's pale form shifting behind the counter. She didn't walk, she glided, like her feet never touched the ground. Her head twitched in small jerks, her slit pupils widening. You've driven the Devil's Mile, she whispered, voice layering like multiple speakers stacked on top of one another. Once you're on it, it never lets you go. I backed into a shelf, cans rattling and clattering to the floor. My hands shook so badly I couldn't grab hold of anything. "What do you want from me?" I shouted. She stopped, tilting her head again, and in that flickering light I realized something awful. Her vest, her name tag, her uniform. It was rotting. The fabric hung in tatters, eaten through by holes. And the tag, the name engraved on it, was mine. Caleb. The shelves toppled as I shoved away from them, sprinting toward the back of the store. Maybe there was a back door, some way out. My boots echoed against the cracked tiles, the buzzing lights flickering faster and faster. I pushed through a swinging door into what looked like a storage room. Bare walls, broken crates, dust thick in the air. My chest heaved as I searched frantically. No door, no window. Just another wall. And on that wall, a mirror. I staggered closer, drawn despite myself. My reflection stared back, pale, sweat-slick, eyes wide with terror. But then it moved. Not like me. It smiled slowly, mouth stretching wide in the same unnatural way as the clerk's. I stumbled back. No, this isn't real. But my reflection stepped forward, pressing its palms against the glass. The surface rippled, like water disturbed by a stone. And then, a voice whispered, not from the reflection, not from the clerk, but from all around me. "Keep driving, Caleb, or you'll stay here. Forever." Suddenly the ground shook. The shelves in the front room collapsed with a deafening crash. I heard the humming again, louder than ever, like it was inside my skull. I didn't think. I just ran, barreling back through the swinging door. The gas station was gone. 1 second I was inside Miller's stop, surrounded by dust and shadows. The next, I was back in my cab, engine idling, headlights casting long beams down the empty highway. My chest rose and fell like I'd sprinted miles. My hands clutched the steering wheel so tight my knuckles burned. I looked around. No gas station. No pumps. No neon sign. Just endless road stretching into the night. Had I imagined all of it? The woman, the mirror, the voice. I glanced at my dashboard and froze. My fuel gauge, which had been nearly empty before, now read full. I should have felt relief, but I didn't. Because as the needle held steady, I noticed something else in the passenger seat. A name tag, old, cracked plastic, and on it, in faded letters, Caleb. The name tag sat on the passenger seat, cracked plastic catching the glow from my dashboard. I didn't touch it, couldn't. My chest heaved like someone was sitting on it. I kept my eyes on the road, hands locked on the wheel. If I looked at that tag too long, I was afraid I'd see it move. The hum from the gas station still rang faintly in my ears, like an echo I couldn't shake. I pressed harder on the accelerator, desperate to leave Miller's stop behind. But as the miles rolled by, something gnawed at me. My trailer felt heavier. My rig strained like I was hauling double the weight. I checked the mirrors. Still nothing but darkness behind me. No phantom truck. No headlights. Just empty road. Then I heard it. Breathing. Slow, steady, coming from the passenger seat. I forced myself to glance sideways. The seat was empty, except for that name tag. But the air shifted, like someone invisible was sitting there, exhaling in rhythm with me. I gritted my teeth. Not real. Not real. But when I looked back at the windshield, a figure appeared in my headlights. The hitchhiker. Same long coat. Same wide-brim hat. Standing dead center in the lane. I slammed the brakes, tires screaming, trailer fishtailing across the ice. The hitchhiker didn't move, didn't flinch. My rig slid to a stop just feet away from him. My heart thundered so hard it hurt. And then he lifted his head. The brim of his hat tilted back, revealing a face that wasn't a face at all. It was mine. My own eyes stared back at me, wide and hollow. My own mouth moved, lips cracking open, but no words came. Only that same low hum. The headlights flickered. For a split second, the hitchhiker vanished, then reappeared, closer, right against my grill. I screamed, slammed the gas, and swerved hard. My rig roared forward, tires spinning on ice, trailer lurching wildly. I didn't look back. Couldn't. But in the side mirror, I caught one last glimpse. The hitchhiker climbing onto the back of my trailer, fingers digging into the metal like claws. I floored it. The speedometer climbed. 50, 60, 70. The trailer rattled behind me, groaning like it might tear off. My whole rig shook with the force of it. Still, I didn't dare stop. Not while that thing clung to me. The CB crackled alive again. Breaker 19. The voice was calm this time, smooth, almost mocking. You can't outrun yourself, Caleb. I ripped the mic from its holder and hurled it onto the floor. The static didn't stop. It rose, louder and louder, filling the cab until it felt like my skull might split. Then, silence. I risked a glance at the mirror. Empty. The hitchhiker was gone. I let out a shaky laugh, gripping the wheel tighter. Still here, still alive. But that relief lasted only seconds, because the radio switched back on, and a voice, my voice, spoke through the speakers. Almost there. Caleb. Almost home. I jerked my head toward the radio, blood running cold. That was me. My exact tone, my exact cadence, but I hadn't spoken. My eyes snapped back to the road, and that's when I saw the sign. A green highway marker, reflective letters glowing in my headlights. Welcome to Miller's Stop. I slammed the brakes so hard my chest hit the steering wheel. Tires screamed, smoke rising in the night air. My eyes locked on the sign. It wasn't possible. I'd left Miller's Stop behind hours ago. There hadn't been a turnoff, no detour, just one straight shot of highway. And yet, there it was, Miller's Stop. I sat frozen, heart hammering against my ribs. My hands trembled on the wheel, sweat stinging my eyes. I wanted to back up, to turn around, but every instinct screamed at me. There's nowhere else to go. I pressed forward, truck crawling at a snail's pace. The road curved gently. My headlights swept across a familiar lot. And there it was, the gas station. Exactly as before. Same cracked sign, same dim bulb above the door, same pump standing lonely in the cold. Except this time, the lot wasn't empty. A truck sat parked by the pump, my truck. I gasped, staring at the rig that was identical to mine. Same color, same trailer, same mud splatters on the grill. And behind the wheel, through the windshield, I saw me, another Caleb Moore. He sat calmly in the cab, hands on the wheel, eyes staring dead ahead. He didn't blink. Didn't move, just stared. And then, slowly, he turned his head toward me. I felt the air leave my lungs. My double's mouth opened wide, wider than any human mouth should. And from across the lot, through glass and steel, I heard it. That low hum. I knew then the Devil's Mile wasn't just haunted. It was a trap. And the thing it wanted most was me. For a long moment I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The other me, the one inside that rig parked at Miller's stop, just kept humming, mouth stretched open in a grotesque smile. My heart hammered as I gripped the wheel tighter. No, this isn't happening. But it was. The lights above the gas station flickered, buzzing like angry insects. The ground beneath me trembled. My double's headlights snapped on, blinding me. I threw an arm across my face, swerving my rig sideways on the icy asphalt. When the glare dimmed, the lot was empty again. No gas station, no second truck, nothing but the endless road. I slammed my palms against the steering wheel, chest heaving. Wake up, Caleb. This ain't real. But the pain in my throat, the burn in my eyes, it was real. Too real. And then the CB sputtered to life. This time the voice wasn't distorted. It wasn't mocking. It was mine. You can't fight it, the voice said, calm as a whisper in my ear. The Devil's Mile doesn't take passengers. It takes drivers. And you've been driving too long. I squeezed my eyes shut. No, I'm not giving in. I'm not... The horn blared. My eyes snapped open just in time to see headlights bearing down on me. A semi, massive and fast, roaring from the opposite lane. Too close, too sudden, I yanked the wheel. My rig jackknifed, trailer whipping sideways. Tires screamed, sparks flew, the whole world turned white with snow and steel. For a heartbeat, I thought that was it. I'd end up another ghost story whispered by truckers. But when the rig screeched to a halt, I was still alive. My chest heaved. My hands bled from gripping the wheel too hard. And the highway, it was empty. No semi. No headlights. Just silence. That's when I saw it. Up ahead, a glow. Not neon, not headlights, warmer, softer, like sunrise bleeding over the horizon. I pressed the gas, inching forward. My rig groaned, but it moved. Every mile closer, the glow grew brighter, chasing shadows off the asphalt. The hum faded. The static died. For the first time all night, I felt hope. The highway curved again, and suddenly I saw a sign, leaving the Devil's Mile. Safe travels, I laughed. A broken, shaky laugh, but real. My hands loosened on the wheel for the first time in hours. I was out. But as the glow washed over me, as the sun, or whatever it was, broke across the plains, I risked one last glance in the passenger seat. The name tag was gone, and in its place, a hat, wide-brimmed, black. I don't remember much after that, just white lights swallowing everything. When I woke, it was daylight. I was parked at a truck stop outside Billings. My fuel tank full, my logbook stamped, like nothing had happened at all. I asked around. Clerks, other drivers, if anyone knew about a station called Miller's Stop. They just frowned, shook their heads. Ain't no place like that around here. But I know what I saw, what I heard, what I survived, and I know this. If you're ever driving through Wyoming and the road feels too long, too empty, pay attention to the mile markers, because if you find yourself on the Devil's Mile, you won't be alone, and you might not come back. Final words? CTA, that's my story. My name's Caleb Moore, and I'm still out here, hauling across America. But every time the road turns dark, every time I pass a lonely figure on the shoulder, I wonder, am I really free, or am I still driving the Devil's Mile? If you're still with me after this ride, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell me, Would you stop for a hitchhiker on an empty road at 2 a.m.? Stay safe out there, and keep your eyes on the mirrors.